So in terms of tomorrow, so we have our exam tomorrow. A few things. I need your textbook back, so if you guys have that, if you guys could get that to me. If you like, don't stress like out people online who are virtual. Get it back to me when you guys are back. Your finished review is due tomorrow for the exam. You should bring your note card, obviously a calculator. I do have some to loan out, but at the same time, like if everybody showed up without one tomorrow, I wouldn't have enough. So I would ask that you guys try to remember a calculator that you're comfortable with. So if that means you borrow one from a friend that is not taking an exam at the time, that's a good idea. And then any missing work has to be in by the time you guys do your exam. Now, I will email out an answer key for the review later on today. So if you do need some extra help, remember that the time before the exam is help time. It's obviously if you need to be here and you're required to be here, you should be here. But if you're not, you're always welcome to come in here and ask questions. Like if you get your answer key to the review and you're like, oh my gosh, I have like 8 of these wrong, then come in and we can work together. So you're welcome to come in regardless if you're required or not. Well, if you're required, you should come in. But if you're not, you're welcome to come in as well. It's going to be, I'm guessing I won't have a ton of students in here. I'm not requesting a lot of students. So I think it should be pretty low-key in here if you guys need some help. So you're welcome to come. That would probably be a good idea, especially if you don't have stuff taken care of, sleeping in and just kind of wasting that time if you don't have your note card done, your review done. Is kind of a short-term solution for you guys to be ready for the exam. I just don't want you to go into it unprepared. So that being said, we still have the Chapter 8 review to do, I believe, is all we have left to do on our review sheet. Do you guys want to go over, do you have questions on the review before that, or do you want to finish the notes and then have some time to work and go over questions then? Anyone have specific questions like this second you want to go over? Okay, so let's get the review notes out. So that was like the 1-page sheet. Now, if your review is completely done or close to done, you can always come and like spot check or have me do like a pencil check of your review. I'd let you guys know if it's going okay or not. Tomorrow, the desks are probably going to be more separated. I'm probably just going to use like the whole room to separate us out. So don't freak out, like don't think that something bizarre is happening, because it's just, you don't need to really see the board. Making sure we did. Okay. We did everything except this Chapter 8, right? Yeah. Okay. Do you have everything you look at there? Oh, you found it. I make extra copies of the review because I don't want to knock it out. I do the wrap part though. There was no wrap now. All right. There's literally this thing. That was bad. I Dawson. No, I think your haircut's nice, and then Miss Miller thought I was complimenting. All right. So guys, so Chapter 8, I kind of was leaving this for today knowing that it was the most recent stuff we did, but at the same time I don't want to like bypass it altogether. This test went pretty well for most of you guys. I know a couple of you guys are thinking about retaking it. I do have a retake ready to go. I just need to grab it from the printer. So so it should be good to go if you guys are thinking of doing that. So In chapter 8, there was the formula for the sum of the interior angles, and then there's also the mid-segment formula. So there's two formulas in this chapter, hopefully that you'll write down. So sum of the interior angles is 180 times n minus 2. And this was a question on the test. It asked about the sum of the interior angles, and sum means all of them. So that's all of them together. So if I ask you or give you the sum of the interior angles, they're telling you all of them together. So I asked a question on the exam that said, or the test that said, like, give me the sum, and then some of you guys gave me just one of them. So just be clear that if I ask for the sum, that's all of them. And then the sum of the exterior angles, and n is the number of sides. Hopefully that's obvious, but the reason I mentioned that is because the sum of the exterior angles, it doesn't matter the number of sides. That always equals what? 360. So don't let that trip you up. There's a formula for the one, and the other one is just always 360. Kind of a bizarre idea that always works that way. So it says in a regular 18 gun, find the measure of one interior angle and one exterior. So this time they are asking for just a single one. And we've done a lot of practice with this. And just hopefully you guys remember when we kind of jog your memory here. So one interior angle, one exterior angle. Which one do you think would be easier to find? I agree. I think exterior is actually easier because we don't have to use the big formula. I know there's 360 degrees in the exterior angles, and there's how many angles? How many angles do we have here? We have 18 total angles. This is the number of sides, but it's also the number of angles. So if there's 360 total degrees and there's 18 of them, I can divide 360 by 18, and I get 20, right? So one of the angles is 20 degrees. That's one exterior angle. And actually the interior angle, if you know the exterior angle is a lot easier, those are always supplementary. These two together always add to 180. So I can figure out this is 160. Now if you're nervous about that, you're like, oh, that doesn't seem quite right. You can always figure out, like if I want to know the sum, I can figure this out. Sorry if I can write 180 times 16, and that gives me so the sum is 2,880, and then I can divide it by 18 to figure out, whoops, if I can actually do that math. I can get the same thing. If I divide this by 18, I get that. So there's kind of like two different ways to go about this. One is not better than the other. I'm not going to like downgrade you because you went the long way. It's whatever way you get to the right answer is fine with me. Probably were used to algebra where I said you had to do it a certain way, and that is kind of a rule a lot of times in algebra because we're learning different methods. But I think geometry is a little bit more about problem solving in that way that you can make kind of a conclusion on how to get there in your own. I'm going to mention mid-segment real quick. I did notice in the review they use the word mid-segment and median kind of interchangeably. I think it depends on the book or just where I found the question. So just so you guys know, the mid-segment or medium of a trapezoid or triangle, they might interchange those words. The mid-segment, this is the one where we do base 1 plus base 2, divide by 2. So you want to make sure you write down this is the mid-segment of a trapezoid. Where there's a mid-segment of a triangle formula where that's the 1/2 rule of just the one side. So there's two different mid-segments we learned about. So they give us TS is 10, PM is 2x, and QR is 3x, and I'll come back to this one. So we're going to add the bases together, divide by 2, and it should equal the mid-segment. But notice the mid-segment in this case is a variable, so this one requires a little bit of algebra here to do this. So I'm going to add the 2 bases together, so 3x plus 10, and divide it by 2, and it should equal the other, or the mid-segment. So I want to get rid of that divide by 2, so I'm going to multiply by 2. So this is going to be 3x plus 10 equals 4x. And then we can move this 3x over. So x ends up being 10, and then I can find out that this is 30, that's 20. I don't know, they didn't specifically ask for anything there, but. And then don't forget about all our different shape rules. I didn't do a ton of examples with those because on the top reminder that I reminded you to look at the chart. This is the one where we made the big flow chart of all the different shapes and their properties. If there's any of those properties you don't think you'll remember, put those on your note card. So transfer everything over to your note card, kind of put it in one place, and hopefully you guys will be able to recall those then. So in this rhombus, what do you know first? Like, tell me what you guys know, because this one actually is not too bad once you figure out. 2 of them are pretty straightforward. Yeah, so those alternate interior angles, if it's a rhombus, there's parallel lines, so that's zigzag. So A would be 38. There's another one that doesn't require any math, it's just a fact. Yep.
E is 90.
Yeah, in a rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular, so B automatically is just 90. So if I know those 2, the C should be easy because now that just became a triangle where I know 2 of the angles. So I know 90 and I know 38, and I just have to find the other one, which would be my C. And so it's just, what is that, 52? Is that right? Because they should add up to 180, right? My other class, I had some technical difficulties with you guys yesterday, so my other class got some time to practice some extra trig questions. Would you guys, like, did you guys do okay on the trig on the review? I think maybe if we did a little bit with whiteboards today, I think that might be good. Or anything else that you guys think you want extra practice of. So why don't we actually grab whiteboards. We're done with notes for now, but I want to get you guys a little bit more direction here. So if like the right half of the room over here wants to grab whiteboards.